Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down something really fascinating that's happening in India, the huge difference between just having enough to eat and having the right stuff to eat. So let's dive right in with this question. What if having a full stomach simply isn't enough? It's a huge question because while India has made incredible progress fighting hunger, a new, much trickier problem is coming into focus. All right, to really wrap our heads around this whole thing, we've got to get clear on two ideas that sound similar but are actually worlds apart. We're talking about the difference between feeding a nation and truly nourishing it. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got food security. Think quantity. The main goal, just stop people from going hungry. Pretty straightforward. But then, on the other side, you've got nutritional security. And that's all about quality. It's about getting the good stuff, proteins, vitamins, minerals, everything you need to actually be healthy and thrive. And that right there, that's the whole paradox in a nutshell. So first up, let's talk about the win. Because, make no mistake, India has waged this massive and, for the most part, really successful war against hunger. For years and years, the mission was super clear: achieve food security. And by focusing, laser-like on the quantity of food, India built this system that actually worked, and the results were felt all across the country. And a huge piece of this puzzle is the National Food Security Act. I mean, this thing is massive. It provides subsidized food grains to almost two-thirds of the entire population. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions of people here. So you see, it's not just one program. It's this whole web of different initiatives working together. You've got the school meals, the emergency relief during the pandemic, and it all comes together to create this really strong safety net that's pretty much wiped out the problem of mass famine-style hunger. But, and this is the big but, here's the twist. It turns out that winning the war on hunger has just revealed a whole new battle, one that's way more subtle and honestly a lot harder to fight. Yeah, the country is now facing this really deep paradox. You've got these granaries that are overflowing with rice and wheat, but at the same time, you still have this widespread problem of malnutrition. How does that even happen? And this is where it gets really fascinating. This slide shows that India is basically fighting a war on two fronts. On one hand, you've still got the classic undernutrition problems. Kids with stunted growth, anemia, that's still high. But then, look at the other side. You've got this rising problem of overnutrition. We're talking obesity, lifestyle diseases, especially in the cities. It's a double whammy. So what this really boils down to is that India achieved what you might call calorie security or cereal security, right? They made sure people get enough calories, mostly from staples like rice and wheat. But here's the thing. A diet that's full of calories isn't always full of the nutrients your body actually needs to be healthy. Okay, so this brings us to the big so what question. Why does this all matter so much? Well, because making this shift from just quantity to quality, from mere survival to actual well-being, it's not just a nice idea. It's an absolute economic and social must. I mean, the stakes are just incredibly high. Think about it. It affects a kid's brain development, their ability to learn, and what they can earn later in life. It directly hits the country's economic productivity. And, of course, it puts a huge, huge strain on the public healthcare system. For a nation that wants to cash in on its young population, its demographic dividend, getting this right is, well, it's completely non-negotiable. All right, so is India ready for this next big challenge? Let's take a look at what's ahead. The big hurdles, but also some of the first steps they're taking. And there is good news. You can see the wheels are starting to turn at the policy level. There's this big push for millets, which are way more nutritious than rice. They're beefing up programs that focus on moms and kids. They're even starting to fortify rice with things like iron. So things are happening. But being truly ready means you have to tackle these really deep-rooted problems. For example, government policies still give farmers more incentive to grow rice and wheat instead of more diverse crops. And for many people, the healthy stuff, fruits, vegetables, is just too expensive. Plus, you're trying to change dietary habits that have been around for generations. It's a tough nut to crack. And this right here really gets to the heart of the challenge. This isn't just about throwing more money at the problem or making old programs bigger. It's about a complete redesign. It's about making nutrition a central goal for everything, for agriculture, for health, for the economy, not just some afterthought. Which really leaves us with this final big question. India has proved, without a doubt, that it can produce enough food to feed its people.
But the real test now is, how does a nation make that critical leap from just keeping people alive to actually enabling them to live healthy, productive, and truly thriving lives?